Welcome back to NAC For IT, all YouTubers out there. Mac DeStroir here with another wonderful episode for you. Did you know that you could install more than one operating system to your computer at once? And then just choose which one you want to use when you boot it up. If you didn't, I'm going to show you how to do that right now, so stick around and check it out. This video is going to be all about installing multiple operating systems to one machine, so that way you can choose which one you want to use when you boot it up. I'm going to show you the Windows method for the most part, but you can do this with almost every other operating system, like Linux or an Apple operating system if you find a use for that. But if you've never seen a dress on a pig, just go ahead and use a Mac. So why would anyone want to do this, you might ask? Well, there are several reasons. One of which is this essentially just turns your computer into multiple different computers. You may happen to have operating systems from the past from different computers that you paid for and you just don't feel like parting with. I have a regular Nintendo out in the garage, and they don't really make or sell those things anymore, but I still like to bust that thing out every once in a while.
Now you're playing with power.
Maybe you're having a compatibility issue with software, and that could easily be fixed just by changing your operating system. You may have more than one person that uses the PC. Also, you could use one operating system for one thing and then another operating system for another, like in my case. I'm a little reluctant to switch over to Windows 10 for everyday use. Sure, it's a great operating system, it's easy to use and whatnot, but there's just some stuff that I don't really love about it. I use Windows 7 at the moment, and it's pretty much the best thing since Windows XP in my personal opinion. Yeah, I loved XP. So what? I'm old. Get over it. Windows 7 is still supported by Microsoft and it works fantastic. However, there are some flaws. There is no support for DirectX 12 or AMD Threadripper CPUs, so if I ever want to use either one of those two things, I'm pretty much forced to jump into Windows 10. Also, on a side note, I can't use Paint 3D either. It's bullshit, Microsoft. Windows 7 can handle it. It's bullshit, Microsoft. So, rather than wipe my entire computer clean just to switch over to Windows 10 and lose everything that I have so far in my wonderful Windows 7, which I love, all I'm going to do is I'm going to install another hard drive into my computer and then install Windows 10 to that, so that way I can give it a try for real and give DirectX 12 a try to see if there's anything valuable in that. DirectX 11 runs pretty well nowadays. It's been around long enough that people have it pretty well optimized in most of the games. But aside from my personal reasons, you might just want to have more than one operating system on your computer. And if you have the option to do it and the capability to do it, the real question is, why not do it? Well, aside from your reasonings, let's get started. So basically the way this works is you go ahead and you install your first operating system. In my case, Windows 7. My previous video, actually not the previous video, but the video before that, shows you how to install Windows 7 and actually how to install Windows 10 as well, which is essentially what I'm going to be doing to make this happen. So I'll install Windows 7 first, get everything fully completed, the installation, get all the drivers and updates installed to it, and then once I have all the drivers and updates installed to it, I will go ahead and install Windows 10. Now the thing is when you're installing a secondary operating system into a computer, you need one of two things. You either need another hard drive to use, or you need to partition a hard drive that you have, as long as that hard drive is capable and has enough, space left on it in order to partition that out. And all a partition is basically a virtual drive. So you can take one drive, split it into two partitions, and virtually the computer reads it as two separate hard drives. So if you want, you can partition out your hard drive, which I may make a later video on how to do that, but I don't have one out currently. So either partition out a current drive that you have, or you can just install a secondary drive if you happen to have one, as long as that drive meets the requirement of the operating system that you're trying to install. So in this case, I'm definitely going to be installing a secondary hard drive all by itself, specifically dedicated to Windows 10. After Windows 7 is installed, completed, updated, drivers, everything, then I'll throw in the other hard drive and I will install Windows 10 to that hard drive. After I get Windows 10 installed, I will update Windows 10 to its fullest updates. I will install all the drivers just to make sure everything is, functional. When I reset my machine or power it on from an off state now, it loads through the motherboard load screen, and then it comes to a screen that gives me two options, either Windows 10 or Windows 7, and I can choose which one I would like to use and boot into right there. I pick Windows 7, it throws it into Windows 7. I pick Windows 10, it throws me into Windows 10. It's pretty simple, and it's very convenient. And I found this to work out epically well for testing out Windows 10 for me. It doesn't affect my Windows 7 experience whatsoever, and I get to fully use Windows 10. Actually, years ago, just out of curiosity, I installed OS X, Windows XP, Windows Vista, and the Windows 7 release candidate before Windows 7 was actually a full-on operating system, all into one machine at one time, and it actually worked. There was a few bugs here and there, but it was actually a killer learning experience to see what it was like to even do that in the first place. So it was interesting, and I used it for testing purposes, basically just to see if it could be done. And the issues that I had were minimal, but not everything was supported so thoroughly like it is nowadays. And believe it or not, back then Google didn't actually have all of the answers right away. So that's how you multi-boot operating systems. It's relatively easy and it's pretty convenient for your life in certain cases. Obviously, not everybody can benefit from this scenario, but nerds like myself absolutely can. So do you think that you could make use of multiple operating systems? If so, which operating systems would you choose to load? Go ahead and leave your answers in the comments section below. That's going to do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you again for watching. I truly appreciate it. Go ahead and leave me any comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions for future videos in the comments section below. Go ahead and hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the dislike button if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel to keep on learning. And thanks again for watching. As always, you guys have a good one.